In the opening scene we see Devki walking to her classroom in the school. Devki is a vivacious biology teacher who is popular with her students. However, her stepdaughter Arya rebuffs her attempts to build a relationship despite Devki's persistence and warmth, as she still misses her biological mother. One day in class, a student Mohit sends Arya an inappropriate video. Devki takes his phone and throws his phone out the window and tells Mohit to call his parents so that she can meet them. In the following scene, Devki is having dinner together with her husband, Anand, and her two daughters Arya and Priya. Anand asks them to select a place to spend their vacation and Arya discloses a location and suggests that she has everything under control when it comes to planning the trip. She mentions that they will start preparations when Anand returns from his conference in New York. After that, Arya shows her desire to go to a party at a farmhouse to Anand, but Devki questions her that the party is on Valentine's Day and inquires whether her friends are accompanying her. Arya does not like her interference and scorns her in front of Anand and leaves angrily. Arya chats to her friend on a video call who informs her that her crush, Kabir, will also be there at the party, and Arya gets sad after listening to this. Devki comes to her room and proclaims that she has persuaded her father to let her go to the party, but Arya disregards her completely. Devki leaves her room by giving her food and requesting her to eat it. In the morning, Devki helps Anand to get ready for his departure. Anand thanks her for managing everything properly and informs her that he will ask Arya to improve her behavior. Anand is about to leave when Arya comes and meets him. She apologizes to him for her behavior and calls Devki ma'am instead of calling her mom. Anand tries to persuade her to call Devki a mom. She gets emotional and states that she cannot forget her mother as he has forgotten, and Anand replies back saying that Devki has helped them a lot by accepting them both. He adds that she has no discrimination against Arya and Priya in her mind. Anand leaves after meeting his family. Devki is in the kitchen when her transgender students arrive. Devki meets them and they thank her for treating them equally and reveal their achievements by offering her sweets for her belief in them. They look at Arya, who is sitting nearby, and talk to Devki about her. Arya listens to them, and when Devki comes to give her sweets, she requests Devki not to discuss her life with anyone. Devki finds it very weird and leaves without saying a word. Clearly she is disappointed at the way Arya treats her even though she loves her. In the following scene, Arya gets ready for the party and informs Devki about leaving. She looks at Arya and informs her that she is looking pretty. Devki requests her to stay in touch and to return soon. Arya then leaves with her friends Rishi and Sapna. They reach the party and have a good time there. Mohit is also there with his friend, Charles, and shows him Arya, stating that he loves her. Charles orders him not to wait and to go and dance with her. Arya is dancing with Rishi and Sapna when Mohit arrives there and asks for permission to dance with her. Arya denies dancing with him, which any girl has the right to do, and requests him to leave her alone. Mohit gets furious and discloses to Charles that she has rejected dancing with him. Charles mixes a pill into a drink and asks Mohit to watch him. Charles goes and talks to Arya and requests her to have a drink with him. Arya denies his drink, but Sapna accepts his drink, and Charles also gets mad at Arya for rejecting his drink. He then looks at Jaginder or Jugan, who is watching as of all this unfold and who happens to be a notorious gangster. Arya looks at Kabir and Sapna gives her a flower to go and proposes to Kabir. As Arya goes near Kabir, she looks at him with another girl and decides to leave the party. Devki calls Arya and she reports that she will be home soon, but then Jugan and his friend Baburam kidnap her. Inside the car, Mohit and Charles are also present, and Mohit asks Arya to call her mother now. After that, they keep raping her inside their car and throw her body in a sewage channel. Devki keeps dialing her number and gets worried. She leaves her house and reaches the party where she meets Kabir and his friends and asks them about Arya, but they notify her that they don't know about her whereabouts. Devki then goes to the police station to complain about her daughter being missing from the party. The police officers disrespect Arya by remarking that she must have gone with her boyfriend as it is Valentine's Day and since it's been less than 24 hours. Devki is frustrated at the response and responds back angrily, stating that it is not usual for her daughter to not contact her for so long and insists that she is indeed missing. A detective known as DK is observing the whole situation. The police officer asks Devki to leave after filing her report, and before she could have entered her car, DK follows her. He informs her that he is the best detective and that if she needs him he is there to help her, and gives his card. The next morning Arya is found barely alive by a man while walking his dog and brought to a hospital. Devki and Anand are shattered. She suffers serious internal injuries, but recovers over the next month and names her attackers. Inspector Matthew Francis quickly rounds up the perpetrators. However, the case falls apart when Arya is found to have consumed alcohol at the party, raising the possibility that her memory is unreliable. In addition, the tardily collected semen samples were too weak to match those of her attackers. The 4 men are acquitted due to a lack of evidence. Arya, in shock and broken by the verdict, withdraws in tears away from Devki. The family's lawyer suggests appealing to a higher court, but Devki has lost her faith in the legal system. Devki keeps thinking and finally takes out DK's card from her bag. The next day, DK is seen with his client. When he sees Devki, he approaches her before she could have left his office. DK proclaims that he knows the reason for her being here and ensures to help her by keeping her name secret. After a few days, DK provides her the complete information about Baburam and contemplates whether or not he is doing the right thing by helping her. Devki replies to him that it is the only way for her to take her revenge. Devki goes to meet her transgender students. In the following scene, Baburam gets trapped by transgenders who provoke him and kidnap him. After 3 days, Baburam opens his eyes at his doorstep. He beats his wife, who was worried about him for disappearing for 3 days. Baburam enters the washroom and acknowledges that he has been castrated. He panics and dies after he hits his head, causing hemorrhage. Matthew reads this news and doubts Anand and his family. His junior informs him that they cannot do this because they are 2 kind people, but Matthew orders him to keep an eye on them. Matthew meets Anand and talks to him about Baburam's death and castration. Anand wishes that he should have done it. Anand informs him that he has nothing to do with this and Matthew leaves, warning him to be careful. Devki meets DK in an art gallery where he hands over USB having all the information about Charles, the other perpetuator in Arya's case. Devki inserts the USB into her laptop and plays the video inside it while eating an apple. She is seen planning what to do with Charles and starts staring at the apple seed. Devki leaves the house by making an excuse of going to buy groceries. She goes outside and we see that Matthew's junior is keeping an eye on them, but he misses Devki's car because he was busy talking to Matthew. He notifies Matthews that this family is innocent as he has seen no suspicious activity. Devki reaches Charles's house and gets the door unlocked with a master key. She enters the house and disconnects the connection to the CCTV cameras. She finally finds Charles's protein powder and mixes cyanide poison in it and gets back home. The next day, Charles takes the proteins while watching the wrestling match and gets paralyzed. Charles's friend arrives there and takes him to the hospital. Mohit is seen smoking in the bathroom and receives a call about Charles being admitted to the hospital. Matthew and Mohit are with Charles when the doctor informs them that Charles has been poisoned by cyanide obtained from the apple seeds, and they wonder how he has survived it. The doctor mentions that his condition is still very critical. DK and Devki are listening to this with the help of DK's secret device. Devki is trying to enter the building where Mohit lives, but the guard stops her and she manages to get rid of him by giving him the wrong name. Devki enters Mohit's apartment and starts the fire alarm after a while. Matthew informs Mohit about the fire at his apartment and Matthew arrives there with his man and Mohit. Matthew orders his men to check everything and Mohit claims that they are not going to find anything here. Matthew goes inside the toilet and finds drugs there. But then one of Matthew's men finds a bucket full of apple pieces. They also find that he has searched the method of making cyanide from apple on his laptop. Mohit is confused and tries to persuade the police that he has not done anything, but Matthew asks his men to arrest him. It is then revealed that Devki has set Mohit up by breaking into his apartment and by cutting the apples into pieces. Matthew finds glasses lying in Mohit's room and picks them up. The next day, Devki goes to meet Charles as his teacher and discloses that she has done everything to him to make him suffer like her daughter has been suffering since she has been raped. After that, Arya reads the article about what has happened to Mohit and Charles and she goes near the window where she looks at her father leaving for office. She texts her father to inform him that he is looking handsome, and on being asked, she shows her desire to visit the place she has selected for their vacation. Anand reads her text and gets excited. Devki is in the parking area of her new school where Matthews is waiting to see her. As Devki arrives, Matthews stops her and requests to sign a document. Devki starts looking for her eyeglasses in her bag and Matthews presents her glasses, questioning her whether she is still looking for them. Devki takes out her glasses and replies to him, "What a coincidence that they use the same type of glasses." Before Devki could have departed, Matthews warns her that he hates when people start doing his work. At night, Anand is elated that everything in their life is getting back to normal. Devki tries to inform him about what she has been doing, but Anand does not let her talk. In the next scene, Devki meets DK, who reports that he has no information about Juggin yet and promises to give her all of the information after she returns from her vacation. Devki informs him that police have started being suspicious about her and leaves, saying thanks to DK. We see that Matthews is present there as well and has been listening to their conversation. DK was about to leave when Matthews comes behind him and orders him to come to the police station. He tries to investigate DK, but he does not tell him anything. Matthews warns DK for lying to him, but then his boss comes there and calls Matthews separately. On being asked, Matthews states that DK has been working with Devki and he wants to investigate him, but his boss orders him to let DK go as he does not want any trouble near his retirement. Juggin comes and meets Mohit, who is raped daily by other prisoners. Mohit requests Juggin to help him get out of jail by stating that he has not given poison to Charles. Juggin does not listen to him and leaves while Mohit keeps yelling at him to get him outside the jail. Juggin meets Charles and begs him to give him the name of the one who has done this to him. Charles tells him mother, but Juggin is unable to understand. After a while, he realizes that she is Devki, as they had been asking Arya to call her mother. Charles then gets into cardiac arrest and passes away. Juggin reaches Devki's house and comes to know that they have left the house to spend their vacation. On his way back, Juggin notices DK, who has been tailing him all this time. The next day, DK tries contacting Devki, but Juggin arrives at his office and starts asking about Devki. DK does not provide any information and Juggin beats him up. Juggin takes his phone and dials the recently contacted number and gets the information about Devki. DK warns him not to go there, but Juggin kills him and destroys the CCTV footage. Matthews investigates the murder and finds a memory card inside DK's glasses. Matthews connects the card to his computer and plays the video recording of how Juggin killed him and how he has been helping Devki. The scene shifts to Anand and his family inside their cottage when the lights go off. Anand goes to check what had happened, but Juggin appears in front of him and shoots him. He then comes in front of Arya, who gets shocked after looking at him. Devki arrives and assails him, but he overpowers and knocks her out by suffocating her. Arya gets a chance and she escapes from the cottage. Juggin starts following her while Devki also reopens her eyes and starts looking for Arya. After a while, Juggin attacks Devki and points his gun at her, but Matthews shoots at his gun. As Matthews gets closer to Juggin, he dodges him and they both keep fighting for a while and Matthews picks up his gun. At the same time, Devki is also pointing a gun at Juggin. Matthews manages to persuade her for pointing down her gun by stating that Anand is still alive and police have taken him to the hospital. Matthews then states that he knows how she has taken revenge on the rapists of her daughter, and Arya listens to this and starts crying. Matthews gives his gun to Devki and requests her to shoot Juggin. Juggin keeps begging for his life and Matthews encourages her to kill Juggin. Arya then comes out and calls Devki his mom. Devki listens to this and unloads all of the bullets into Juggin's chest. Arya hugs and kisses her mother and the movie ends here. Mom is not just a word, it's an emotion, and this movie was successful in portraying the extent to which a mom can go to save her child. If you like this recaps, hit the like button and subscribe to enjoy more videos like this.